A mysterious tower appears on Earth, imbuing people with wondrous magic powers at the cost of frequently churning out destructive monster waves. That is the world where Tower Climber situates itself, and if that were not bad enough, Max's life is constantly met with unfair treatment. Even though he is a paraplegic orphan, there seem to always be those who would make his life even worse, and only the hope of finding his long-lost sister gives him the strength to persevere. Right at the beginning, it is noticeable that the story is targeted toward a younger audience. The absence of swearing and its simpler plot progression provides substance to that belief. However, as the story unfolds, more and more violence and gore become commonplace, to a point that it confused me. After all, what does Tower Climber try to be? I'm not sure, and to a certain extent, neither does this story. The straightforwardness of the plot and the transparency of both the narrative and characters, many of which are cartoonishly represented, all but pointed toward being manufactured for younger readers. The cold-blooded violence and gore that grows in scale and abundance, however, makes me reconsider that thought. The narrative occasionally bends the plot to fabricate opportunities that benefit the main character's relevance throughout the book. Nonetheless, the storytelling is pleasantly uniform in its balancing of the progression aspect and shocking twists and turns, providing a constant supply of new events to keep the reader entertained. Among them, the history of the tower's emergence and its consequences on Earth is undoubtedly one of the instances where Jakob Tanner's novel truly shines in execution and promise, culminating in the astonishing revelations of the secret lore behind many of the dubious historic regulations regarding the tower's own. Despite its flaws, the premise of Tower Climber is curious and so full of potential that it manages to alleviate the rough feeling caused by its unpolished edges. The magic system is a mixture of RPG and cultivation. It truly shines in its simplicity, as there is no endless accumulation of meaningless skills. Instead of making the reader keep a spreadsheet to keep track of the character's powers, we get a rare instance where each climber has only 2 magic attributions, 1 trait and 1 passive skill. The cultivation aspect, however, is only superficially addressed, since engaging in physical training improves upon a particular stat and provides the main path of actual power progression. So the common cultivation tropes such as pills, manuals, and arts are not present. However, given the established progression mechanics and the increasing difficulty of progressing through the bottlenecks of power, cultivation might play a larger role as Max ascends the tower's floors. Narration-wise, Steve Campbell does an acceptable job. Though some of his voices can sound cartoonish and odd, female specifically, he offers a good range and variety of tones that makes discerning the important characters a natural thing. The diverse degrees of problems approached also bring change to his narration, and you can clearly feel the severity of the situation by his different intonations alone. All in all, I was satisfied with his narration, and even the characters that sound odd managed to amuse me in a nostalgic way. Tower Climber delivers an interesting story, and although it suffers from a conflictual identity crisis, not fully deciding which audience to focus on, the story's potential for engagement is not irreversibly harmed. Additionally, with the interesting revelations and outcomes of the climax of the novel, there is sufficient promise of action and new mysteries to be solved. As a progression fantasy novel, the prospect of action and mind-boggling battles tend to only increase as the story goes on, and I can't help but be curious about which hurdles will Max face on the upper floors of the tower. Thank you for watching. What are your feelings toward this book? I would love to hear all about it in the comments below. Consider subscribing if you want to see more reviews like this. See you at the next one.